Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with the winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Friday edition of Today in Sports Betting, Part 1, doing it college style as we take a look at the conference tournaments as the action gets hot and heavy. Scott, heading into the weekend. It's moving day. It's put up or shut up day there on Friday. We got the quarters, we got the semis, and we got some real teams playing against real teams, kind of the action we've been looking for. So let's start off in the Big Ten, shall we? As Ohio State squares off against Purdue. Michigan is an early game. I think you and I both like Michigan there, but I don't believe this is going to be up by the time that one kicks off there at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. In the next game, we got Ohio State, Purdue. Scott, Purdue is about a 1.5-point dog, depending on where you go there. And 142.5 is the number. It did open up at 153 or 143.5. Now down to 142.5, even some 141.5. So the under money is coming in hot and heavy on this Ohio State Purdue game already. What do you got here?
Well, I think it's pretty interesting when you have to factor in the fact that Ohio State's the 9th-ranked team in the country and only had one bye against a team that has a worse ranking in the top 25 that had multiple buys. I do find that kind of fascinating.
Yep.
But in this matchup here, I got to like Purdue. Ohio State beat Minnesota yesterday. They almost fell apart in dramatic fashion. They held on really by pure desperation, they held on. That game looked like it was over. I believe they were up, 14-0 to start the game, 13-0 to start the game, something like that. And Minnesota was down double digits at the half, around there, and then ended up going on a serious run late in the second half to cut it close. Ohio State ended up holding on, but Minnesota's not very good, and Ohio State has looked like an awful basketball team for the last, I'd say, 3-4 weeks. Meanwhile, Purdue seems to be finding its stride at this point. It started to insert its huge 7-footer into the lineup more in Edey, and he has just been eating. See what I did there for the last couple of weeks? Purdue, at the end of the day, just has too much size for me. You got Williams. Edey's been great as well over the last couple of games. Still got Stefanovic. Still got Ivy from who are pretty solid guards. Stefanovic, of course, being the three-point marksman of that team. At the end of the day, I just think Purdue's going to dominate on the glass, and I like the way this team's played. So I actually think the wrong team's favored here. I like Purdue.
Yep, I like the I like this. I like this young kid, the 7'4" Canadian.
Now get one of our best 5G.
Zach Edey. I'm a big fan of his as well. And Purdue, they're just banging the ball inside. I don't know what answer Ohio State is going to have for that, but I bet it's not a good one.
I like Liddell, but other than Liddell, you don't really have many other options in terms of backups. And if you look at how Edey's been playing lately, it's really weird because he really wasn't that involved earlier in the year. And then as the season went on, it feels like the coaching staff decided to try to unleash him because he's had at least 20 points in each of his last 2 games, which were his 2 highest scoring games of the season. So it seems like the coaching staff looked over and said, wait a second, you're 7'4". Everyone else is 6'8". No one can guard you. And then he ends up putting up 20 points per game. I think Ohio State's the same way. I just think Edey's going to have a great game. Williams reminds me a lot of his passing is better than Zach Randolph, but just size and stature. He reminds me a lot of Zach Randolph. He's just kind of a power forward, low center of gravity, but he can just bully people on the inside. And I don't think Ohio State is much of an answer for that. So I just think Purdue's going to dominate on the glass and win a pretty close, low-scoring game. So I like Purdue.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think when in doubt, go to the inside talent there, and Purdue is definitely the team that has ridden that so far. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that play as well. Now let's see what we got. Cooked up here, Scott. No line. Well, do you have a line on the Wisconsin-Iowa game? I know you really like to talk about that one.
I do not have a game. I do not have a line on it.
And I got my play today on Illinois. It's Illinois right now by 7.5. And who do you like there? Illinois, Rutgers.
If I had to play it, I'd take Illinois. Rutgers is one of those teams that seems to be very tricky to predict. I know it ended up blowing it open against Indiana late. That game was pretty dicey for a while before Indiana officially packed it in and got ready to go back home. But I kind of have to agree. I just think Illinois is the more talented team. I do actually think that Rutgers is one of the only teams in the Big Ten that could actually match up with Coburn because Miles Johnson's actually a very solid center. But Rutgers just – there's something off with that team, and I'm still not really sure what it is because you go through the line of players on that team, whether it's going to be Baker, whether it's going to be Young, whether it's even Mathis. They have a bunch of pretty solid scorers on the team, and yet for some reason – they just can't figure it out on a game-to-game basis, and I'm not really sure what that's about. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and they don't have a lot of high-quality wins over good teams.
No.
They're a team that likes to beat up on the bottom feeders there. So I'm not buying this Rutgers team. Let's talk about one there from the American Athletics, Scott. It's going to be Wichita and South Florida. Wichita laying 9. A couple of big favorites there, 17.5 for Houston, 9 for Wichita State. You like either one of those, both of those? How do you kind of lump those together for us?
If I had to play one of them, I would pick Wichita. At the end of the day, South Florida might have beaten Temple yesterday. Temple is just a terrible basketball team, but every game before that, South Florida was getting absolutely demolished. They played the regular season finale. Wichita State won that game at home by 17. I have seen what I need to see from South Florida to know that this team stinks, and I'm not going to overreact to beating a Temple team that might be equally as bad. So I just think Wichita, who was shockingly the regular season champions in the conference, which I'm sure nobody saw coming,
right?
Wichita's going to come out and smack this team. You?
Any value? Yeah, I'm the same way with the Shockers there. I don't love the 9, but this South Florida team is dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
Houston 17.5. Any value on Tulane there? That's a big number.
I would say no, just because of the fact that I know how good Houston actually is. Tulane's not very good, even though it did have an impressive win against Tulsa yesterday, which I didn't exactly see coming. But both those teams have been struggling this season. Houston is just on another planet in comparison to the other teams in this conference. I know it struggled in the regular season finale against Memphis. I think Memphis is a really big sleeper in that conference. I think Memphis is actually pretty good. But at the end of the day, I just think these two teams are nowhere near each other in terms of talent. So I want nothing to do with taking Tulane because I think that Houston could win this game by 30, could win this game by 20, or could even win this game by 5 if it chooses to just not really care about this game. So for that reason, I really have no interest. Depends on how many points Houston wants to win by.
All right. Moving on to SEC. Got one game between ranked teams there, and of course it's the Missouri-Arkansas game. Arkansas is a 3-point favorite. 148 is the number. There's some 148.5 around. Who you got there, bud?
If I had to play it, I would take Arkansas, but I don't really know if I want to. These teams have played each other pretty close throughout the regular season. Arkansas, of course, in much better form. Missouri had to squeak by Georgia because of a lane violation on the first free throw, and that whole thing was kind of ridiculous.
That was a weird deal, wasn't it?
I don't understand why they even needed to call a lane violation if the guy didn't shoot the ball. He can't just go back over the line. He didn't. Shoot the ball.
I'm guessing it's from the time the referee hands the ball to the shooter that.
I didn't know that rule existed. I thought it was.
I didn't either.
But either way, Missouri won the game, even though it didn't really score for the last, I don't even know how many minutes. They really kind of fell apart down the stretch. But either way, if I was going to play it, I would take Musselman and Arkansas because I do like this team, and they were my pick to win the conference. So if I had to play it, I'd take Arkansas.
Okay. Anything else in the SEC get your attention?
Not really. I know Bama's laying a pretty decent number, but Mississippi State is not a very good team at all. If I really had to play it, I would have to play Bama, but I'm really just not interested. I'd probably consider taking the over because I think that if Bama –
you seem to be saying that a lot. Is there anything you're interested in today?
There is one game which we'll get into that I do like a lot, which we'll get into once we talk about the ACC. But as for the SEC, if I was playing, I was going to take Bama. Mississippi State struggled yesterday against Kentucky, blew a massive lead, came back from behind, but Bama can score in bunches, and I don't think Mississippi State has the offensive firepower to keep up. So I like Alabama.
Okay. I think this is a Mississippi State team that's played pretty well against Alabama so far this season, if I remember correctly.
Possible. I can't say that I recall.
Yeah, that's what I it's so weird, having to get these just as the line comes up because we don't use we don't have our normal tools readily at our disposal that we would normally have. So I'm going to check that on the fly and see how bad my memory is. All right, so they beat Mississippi State by 8 and beat Mississippi State by 5. So I'm going to guess they went 1-1 against the number there.
Okay.
So is it the Mississippi State team that has played them tough and they've played good defense against them.
Also played yesterday, so you have to wonder if fatigue might play a factor.
Very true, very very true. So we'll. Yeah, I probably like Bama a little more than you do there. I'm not so sure I'll give them my full-throated endorsement, but if I had to play that one, I would play Mississippi State and take the points.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the let's take a look at the Big East. The man, what a mess, Scott.
I said I liked UConn yesterday, and DePaul didn't really show up.
Yeah, congratulations. You have a number on the UConn Creighton game?
As of right now, do I have a line on it? No.
I do not. I have Seton Hall, Georgetown. No interest. Zero interest.
If I was going to play it, I'd probably take UConn because I said before I thought they would win the conference.
You take UConn in the Seton Hall Georgetown game?
I thought you said the UConn. I thought we were talking about the UConn Creighton game. I was saying if we
there's no line, so we're not talking.
I was saying since we don't have a line, I would lean UConn. Not sure what the line would be. I'm assuming Creighton's probably going to be 3, 4.
Oh, I was going to say closer to 6.
I don't think so. I think UConn's starting to finally get respect.
Huh. Okay. Seton Hall Georgetown. Care about that one?
I think that game's a tough one because it depends on how much you want to buy on Seton Hall.
Yeah.
I know I had a sprinkle of St. John's money in my pocket, went to overtime, close game, not really much more you can ask for as an underdog. But Seton Hall, this team I feel like should be better than it is. I'm not sure what exactly the story is with this team. Right. Georgetown got pretty lucky with the draw. Let's be real, you had Villanova missing 2 of its top 3 players, and it still barely won the game. If I was going to play it, I'd take Seton Hall, but it really would not surprise me if off an overtime game Seton Hall comes out a bit flat.
All right, so let's check out the ACC. 2 games there. We've got just one line, and that is Virginia -4 over Georgia Tech. 128.5 is the number. What you got here?
Well, this game I'm actually going to play. I'll make it official. I like Virginia in this spot against Georgia Tech. It's one thing for Virginia to barely beat Syracuse, who I'm sure we both think is a tournament team. Yeah. And Virginia hung tough and won the game. Georgia Tech really struggled against the Miami team that I know was on a bit of a hot streak, but it played back-to-back days, and Georgia Tech almost completely blew the game entirely, ended up holding on to the end. But Virginia won both of the regular season meetings, and I just simply think that in the ACC tournament, Virginia was my pick to win the conference. This is the spot where you just feel like Georgia Tech doesn't really have much of a shot. It's one of those things where if you look at the line and you look at the teams, you make an argument saying Moses Wright will cause some problems in the interior for Virginia. Virginia's handled them twice. They won the games in the regular season. But Virginia's been in the conference tournament finals, what seems like every year. And Georgia Tech won its first conference game since, I think it was 2000. I forgot what year it was, but it's been at least 5 years since it won even a game in the conference tournament. It seems like a spot where Georgia Tech might be a little bit happy that it actually won a conference tournament game for once. Virginia, this is what it does. It just grinds you down, and it wins a game in hideous fashion. I think Virginia probably wins this game by 8 or so. It really wouldn't surprise me if Virginia kind of runs away with it. You? But I like Virginia in the spot.
Yeah. I think it's that time of year, even though Virginia did have to hit the buzzer beater to win yesterday.
I'm saying I think Syracuse is still pretty underrated. Because Syracuse seemed to be finding its stride a little bit, beat that North Carolina team that's been cooking a couple.
You think Syracuse is better than Georgia Tech?
I actually think it's close. I know Georgia Tech was much better in the regular season, and I do acknowledge that. But besides Alvarado and Wright, I don't really think this team has much depth. I know DeVoe is a decent complementary player. I just don't really see many options. And Georgia Tech, late in games, has some disastrous possessions all the time. If you've actually watched Georgia Tech play, they are terrible in close games when it comes to trying to bleed clock. I just think that Bennett will have his guys ready, and it seems like a spot where Virginia just puts the foot on the throat and just absolutely just stifles this Georgia Tech offense. So I think Virginia kind of rolls here.
Okay.
You, or do you think it's going to be close?
I don't know that they roll, but I think they cover the number. I don't have any confidence in Virginia to beat somebody by 15, but
No, I was thinking more along the lines of 9.
Yeah, I think I was going to say a 6 to 8 point victory is certainly within the wheelhouse there of the Cavs.
But I like Virginia in that spot.
Okay, don't have a number on North Carolina, Florida State.
Well, it's just a question in general. As we get into the later rounds, as more and more of these teams actually played games, does experience, do you think, matter as much or no, because they've already played in this neutral a couple of times and everything works itself out? I think it always matters.
I think experience matters, especially at the guard position. I'm a huge fan of upperclassmen guards come tournament time. And that's definitely one of the things that I look for when I'm capping games. So, yeah, I totally believe that experience matters at this level, even with a game or two under your belt. Yourself?
I agree, which is why I kind of like Virginia. It's just the fact that Georgia Tech might have some people based on the fact that they've been in college for a while, seniors, juniors, but they haven't played in the semifinals of an ACC tournament game.
Right.
Virginia does this basically every year. So I have to assume that the lights might be a little bit too bright for the Yellow Jackets.
Agreed. Big 12, Scott. Baylor Bears, Oklahoma State. Baylor by 9 over Oklahoma State. Man.
It feels like it's daring you to take Baylor after that virtual no-show for about the first 25 minutes against Kansas State yesterday. Truth is, I've been kind of trying to go against this Oklahoma State team, or at least I've been looking at them kind of negatively for the last couple of weeks. They keep winning. So I'm going to take the points with Oklahoma State because I'm tired of going against this team and they keep winning. So I recognize the fact that even though Baylor has a great team, Cade Cunningham is still the best player on the court. And at any time you're the best player on the court, you have a good chance to cash tickets as a 9-point underdog. I know that they played at Baylor. Baylor won by 11. Cunningham got injured in that game. So you can make an argument Oklahoma State could have covered that if he didn't get injured. But
well, he played 39 minutes in that game.
No, but he got injured in the final minute, and then I thought there were some free throws at the end.
Okay.
You make an argument Oklahoma State's – I know he got injured in the last minute, but I'm saying one garbage time shot and you cover and you make an argument that he wasn't there. But whatever. Either way, the spread was close in that game at Baylor. Now it's a neutral. I'll take the points. I think this game will be pretty close.
Yeah, this is a Baylor team that, you know, they lost the game to KU to ruin their unbeaten season.
How impressive is the win against West Virginia anymore? I don't even know.
Yeah, they had to go to overtime to beat West Virginia. They, like I said, they did have a reel off a couple nice victories against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Both of those were at home, of course, and then big time struggles against K-State in a game the Wildcats were up with about 10 minutes left. And granted, it was just a point or two, but they played them very, very tough all the way through. Yeah, I got to play Oklahoma State there. I really do.
If I was going to play to take the points.
I'm just not sure this Baylor Bears team is, at the next level that we thought they were the entire season. So
you think the COVID absence had something to do with it, or you just think it's
they seem to be much more choppy since they've come back. Yeah, they've still had a couple of nice games, but they're not putting them up on a regular basis like they were.
That's how I feel.
Oregon State, Oregon there in the Pac-12. Oregon by 9, 139 is your total there.
I'm so happy that UCLA lost. I'm just
I thought the Beavs had a good chance to beat them outright,
so did I. And then it went to overtime, and I figured, here's the time where Oregon State probably loses by 1 in some heartbreaking game, and now they ended up winning. But is UCLA even a tournament team? They really shouldn't be if you look at their resume. They've beaten nobody all year.
No, that's a team I have. Where does Lenardi have them? Do you know?
I'm not even sure. I can look it up right now. But if you just look at UCLA's schedule, which I'll pull up really briefly, if we're talking about bubble teams, I know UCLA went 13-6 in conference play, 17-9 overall. You're going through these games. Their best win is at home against Buffalo. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, the whole Pac-12 has been terrible this whole year. We already know that. They're probably going to get 3 teams in with the likes of Oregon, USC, and Colorado. I think we'd agree with that. But you look at the other teams they've played, lost on the road to San Diego State by 15. They beat Marquette by 9. Marquette's terrible. Ended up losing to Ohio State and beat Colorado at home. And after that, every other game's a conference game. Didn't beat Oregon. Didn't beat USC. And they beat Colorado by 3 at home. So their best win this season is arguably at home against Colorado.
Yep. That's
How are you in the tournament?
Yeah, this team that lost by 15 to San Diego State as well.
That's what I'm saying. That was the opener. They haven't beaten anybody. They lost to Ohio State they have no good wins in the entire season. You can't go the whole year and lose to the two best teams in the conference, beat nobody at a conference, and expect me to say that you belong in the tournament. I don't think.
Their best wins against Colorado, who's a tournament team, but that's
what I'm saying. But they lost. They got swept by USC. Lost to Oregon in the one meeting that they had. They really haven't beaten anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. If it's up to me, I'm not putting the Bruins in.
I can check Lenardi right now, but anyway, we can carry on. For this one, I like Oregon.
Yeah, this is a Ducks team that's been playing very well. Yesterday took care of business against a hugely disappointing Arizona State. Finally put their season out of its misery with an 18-point win. 13-point victory to close out the season there against the Beavs. I'm laying the number with Oregon there.
Especially off the overtime game for Oregon State. You have to wonder about tired legs. I know that theory didn't exactly work with USC yesterday as Utah gave them all they could handle. But still, I think it's a good spot for Oregon, who's arguably – they're easily the hottest team in the conference. Mm-hmm. They're one of the hottest teams in the country, and nobody realizes it. Yep. But, by the way, looking at Lenardi, he has UCLA as one of the last 4 buys. I have no idea why. I have no idea why. He has reputation because everyone kind of knows the Pac-12 stinks. I got no idea why UCLA's on.
I get so tired of seeing those just dreadful power conference schools play in the tournament.
I'm saying Louisville is a better resume than UCLA. Yeah. And we've roasted Louisville for not beating anybody in the season either, but at least they beat like Duke and some other teams twice.
Yeah, I know. All right, so those are the big ones. Anything else got your attention today?
Well, I'm going to have a play of the day on one game in particular in the MAC, so stay tuned for that.
Return of the MAC. Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Good song. But
we had a nice play of the day yesterday as Buffalo took care of their business. So,
well, we talked about it on the radio show. It was our dog of the day. We liked Nevada yesterday to get the job done against Boise. Yep. They won outright at around plus 175.
Yep.
I'm going back to Nevada. I know San Diego State, after getting a real scare from Wyoming, should probably look better. I said Nevada was alive at 25-1 to win the tournament. So I think they got a serious shot, and I'm kind of shocked by the line. After the games yesterday, Nevada led the entire way against Boise, really wasn't in danger throughout the entire game for the most part. No. Boise cut it to, I want to say 5, maybe twice.
That sounds right. I kind of kept half an eye on that game, yeah.
But as a whole, I thought San Diego State was going to be laying 5.5 or 6 here. I did not expect 8.5. Yeah. So for that reason, I would take Nevada plus the points.
Okay. Very solid. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. You? I know you have premiums and everything, but do you have a game you want to talk about?
I do. Well, let's see here. Like I said,
I would probably take Tennessee against Florida.
That's not a terrible pick. I do like Buffalo laying that short number to Akron. I think that's a solid play. I don't know what to think about this stupid Toledo team. I really don't.
I feel like Ohio's very live to win that one.
Yeah, I've lost my confidence in the Rockets. I really have.
I think that they're still a pretty good team, but I watched them lose to Central Michigan, and I kind of had to reevaluate everything I thought about this team. This team can't guard anybody.
I might lean Western Kentucky. We had a nice play on UAB, and they were nice enough to close out the game on an 18-2 run to get us the cover over the last 8 minutes. So,
do you think it's weird both semifinals in that conference are starting at noon and 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
You know the deal, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, they got the what do you mean? What do you mean they're starting? Because they've got the curtain there, dude.
No, but I'm saying that they have two semifinal games. I'm saying the start times are very early for those semifinal games.
Oh, they're not playing the night games. I thought you meant because they were close to the same time.
No, I meant that the second semifinal is starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so both games should be done by like 5:30. It sounds pretty early, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get some of that midday viewership. No, they can't compete with the big boys at night. I don't know.
It makes sense.
I think that's about going to do it for me. Like I said, I do lean Tennessee there over Florida. I'm not impressed with this Florida squad. I think Tennessee is live to win that tournament. I think that's probably I don't know if that's your favorite at this point, but I like them. I think they get past I think they get to the finals at least and take on Arkansas probably.
Well, there's one game that isn't on the card because we didn't have a line for it, but I kind of want your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Do you think Texas is favored tomorrow against Kansas? Kansas was laying 2.5 against Oklahoma. It ended up winning, but it almost choked a massive lead there in the second half. Texas already snacked Kansas in Kansas earlier this season, and missing their one big man, and Texas has a ton of size. I think it's a really bad matchup for Kansas.
I think it's KU by 1.5.
You think KU's favored just based on reputation and location?
Yep.
I can't really argue with that. I kind of just wanted your thoughts on what you thought.
That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 1.5 window either side, but I'm gonna guess it's KU minus 1.5.
It could really be a pick'em, and it wouldn't really bother me either.
No, I think it very well could go off pick'em.
But I guess I'd lean Texas, but it's mostly because of the fact that Texas has multiple big men and Kansas now has Mitch Lightfoot, and that's basically all they have.
Yeah.
But props to Kansas, though. Ended up holding on against Oklahoma. Oklahoma auto-fade in the tournament.
Yeah. Yep. That's the way that works.
Yep.
All right, bud. So if people are looking for more information on these games, especially that small college stuff, where should they go, Scott?
winnersandwhiners.com.
That's right. And you've been writing all the articles for which conference?
I've been doing the ACC tournament and the Conference USA tournament.
Beautiful. That's fantastic. So we've got a lot of good handicappers over there, just like young Master Reichel, and deep dives into every game, every single day, full predictions, sides, totals, whatever it is. You get over there and check it out at winnersandwhiners.com. Always there, always free. And for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, we appreciate you guys watching today. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Of course, we're wishing you nothing but the best. We're hoping every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great day, and we're ready for the weekend. So we'll be back to talk to you tomorrow. All right. Stay tuned. We got the NBA show. We'll be back tomorrow. That is true. But next, we've got the NBA show. So stay tuned for that on the next episode of Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.